Well, greetings, everybody, and welcome to this week's installment of the Arrow After Show. My name is John Campea. I am going to be your host this evening. How you guys doing? Good to be back with you guys again. I was away last week. I was in Las Vegas actually last week for CinemaCon because, you know, my day job is I run stuff for AMC Theaters for online, and I'm the editor-in-chief there. And we had this big movie thing going on in Las Vegas. It was CinemaCon, so I was away at that. But taking over the show and running it very well in my absence, of course, are the two ladies sitting to my immediate right. First of all, we're starting with Kaori. Kaori, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm going to be holding on to this because I'm doing an ode to Felicity Smoke.
And, of course, beside her, and Campea.
What's up, Aristotles? We're happy to be back, the whole trio, finally.
Aristotles?
You guys don't like that
one? Is that a new one? Aristotles?
I don't know. I try something new every week. There's always one person that doesn't like the name, so I'm just going to flip the name every week.
Yeah, I'm going to admit I'm not big on Aristotles.
All right. We'll try something new next week. I'm
Arrowheads or something like that. It's all good. Hey, listen, guys. In case you guys didn't know, today is Anne's birthday. It is Anne's birthday today, and we are so excited that it's her birthday today. And so she came on to AMC Movie Talk with me today for a little bit.
Yes, that was exciting.
That was exciting. And then after we were done with AMC Movie Talk, we went to Disneyland.
Yes, that was also exciting.
And then we came back here, and I wanted to share a little something with you guys. Like, if you guys already know, Stephen Amell is not just a terrific actor, and he does such a great job bringing us Arrow every single week, and the performance he gives is Oliver Queen. He's also just one hell of a nice guy, because about an hour and a half ago, we got an email, and like I said, today is Anne's birthday, and she wanted to do the Arrow After Show anyway. And she got this message from Stephen Amell. Check this out.
Anne, it's Wednesday, April 2nd, which is also apparently your birthday. Happy birthday. Have a tremendous after show. And happy birthday. I hope you liked tonight's episode. I'm going to try to come on the after show again soon. 9 p.m. Pacific time. Rarely works for me. I'm hoping that it will again, though. You guys do a good job. All the best.
So, Anne, show them your face when when that video came in. That was Anne's face.
Yeah.
So, a very, very special thank you to Stephen Amell.
Thank you so much. That was really, really stand up, and we've got the Emerald Archer behind us on my birthday. I'm so happy.
She was so excited when that message came in. And I think that just says something very cool about an actor like Stephen Amell, who obviously he's in the middle of shooting. He's in his trailer clearly when he's doing that. And he's got the eye makeup on and everything. And the fact that he would take time to stop and make a video like that, I think it just speaks volumes about the dude, which is just really cool. So a special thank you to Stephen Amell for sending that message into Anne. And on behalf of everybody, Anne, once again, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Thank you all for joining me. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here with all of our Arrow fans doing the Arrow After Show, because this is what we love to do on Wednesday nights. So we have a lot to talk about.
We do have a lot to talk about. So listen, for those of you guys who might be new to watching the Arrow After Show, we kind of break it down like this. First of all, we talk about the positives of the episode. Then we give some constructive criticism about the episode. And then we just talk about it overall. And then we throw it open to you guys to make comments and ask questions and stuff like that. For those of you who are watching us live, there is a chat stream there right beside the YouTube video. Tonight, instead of Twitter, we're going to take questions for tonight from there. So that's where we're going to take the questions from tonight, is from the chat board, the YouTube chat board there. So if you have questions or comments you want to make, put them in there. But don't put them in there yet, because we're not taking them yet. Wait till a little bit later in the show and then start writing them in. And then Anne is going to keep track of all the different things that people say. And if you get a chance, drop Stephen a note on Twitter there and just let him know how cool it is that he would do something like that. That's really cool. And he did mention that he's been talking to us for a while now. He wants to come back on the Arrow After Show. He came on the once via Skype, and we've been talking about trying to figure out a way to get him back on again. And the time is an issue, obviously. Like for him, like 9 p.m. Pacific is difficult. So, but I'm going to let him know that we can do it earlier. We can do another time. What I really want to do for those of you who watch my AMC stuff, the other day I had Kevin Feige and Chris Pratt and director James Gunn for the new upcoming Marvel film Guardians of the Galaxy, and I had them into my AMC studio, and we had a live studio audience. I want to do that with Stephen Amell. I want us to have a special Arrow after show that we shoot from my AMC Movie Talk studio at the Stream TV studios in Hollywood. And I want to invite people down and have a live studio audience. I want to go all out for this, and we'll work it around his schedule. So just make sure, Steven, I know you're watching this. We're going to get this set up. We're going to get this set up. So yeah, what are you looking at? You're smiling and grinning at something. What is it? What's going on?
I'm not sure.
So whenever I try to look at you, I'm looking the other way on the camera.
Oh, yeah. We bring up this camera. When I look this way, I'm actually looking away from you.
That's all right.
Something's
We're in
wrong.
the same room.
We are beside each other. I don't know why this is going on.
I was wondering.
I was giggling, like an Asian girl. All right, so.
All right, well, let's dive into it, guys. Let's talk about tonight's episode of Arrow, Season 2, Episode number 18, also known as Deathstroke, or as I like to call it, It's About Damn Time. Okay, so I'll start off with my positives here. Normally, I throw it over to you guys to start with the positives and negatives. I'm going to start with my positives on this. First of all, one hell of an episode. One hell of an episode. It seemed like every commercial break. You want to have a show where at the end of an episode, you have an oh damn moment. You want the end of each episode to have like an oh damn. This episode, it felt like every single commercial break was an oh damn moment. It just kept coming. It just kept coming. It's either Slade did something awesome, or some big bomb got dropped, or then another big bomb got dropped, and it was just a beautifully orchestrated episode. I have nothing but positive things to say. Mark this down. I even liked Roy in this episode.
What?
I even liked Roy in this episode. What? And I never like Roy. Roy, the useless character that's just dead weight to the show and shouldn't be there. I liked him in this episode. I thought the acting was a little bit hammy in the whole, why are we all listening to Oliver Queen? That scene, but that's a nitpick thing. Overall, I just like the fact that the way he was used and the function that he served, and the fact that he's kind of put in his place at the same time, but realizing the strength that he has. So I even like the way they used him. I like that Diggle had a nice role to play in the episode. Felicity had a nice role to play. I was really happy to see Oliver realizing kind of, while it's understandable how mad he's been at Moira, I've said for a couple of weeks, it's kind of unfair. Because really, Ollie, when you think about it, you've been lying to her since the moment you got back from the island, and your motive is to protect her, but you're lying nonetheless, and she's done the same thing, and yada, yada, yada. And so it was kind of neat to see that, with Thea going missing and being kidnapped, that put it all into perspective for Oliver. And they had that really nice scene with him and Moira, standing in their living room. I thought that was a really, really nice scene. I thought that was really cool. And one of the things they've been doing a lot the last little while in the show, and I'm so glad they continued on, Slade is always 4 steps ahead of everything Team Arrow is trying to do. Always 4 steps ahead. Like everything Oliver thinks about to do, Slade's already anticipated it, and he's 3 steps ahead. And that is what makes him so menacing. I mean, Deathstroke is a physically intimidating enemy, but what really makes him feel menacing and just all triumphant evil is the fact that he is also so smart and so planned and so prepared. He's always 4 or 5 steps ahead of them, and that's what makes him truly terrifying. That one commercial cliffhanger they had when he says to Thea, I know your brother's secret. And then they go to commercial like, oh damn, he's gonna tell him she's Zero. But he didn't, told him the other secret. And then and I really do like Thea's reaction too. Her reaction was perfect. when she finds out that she's actually Merlin's daughter, that all that kind of stuff. I thought that was handled beautifully. And then of course he drops the bomb on Laurel at the end, which was pretty damn impressive the way that whole scene was handled as well. Just so many excellent moments and things. This felt like a season finale to me.
Yeah, it did.
It felt like a season finale. And I couldn't have been happier with it. It was, not a lot of action in this one, but you know what? When you do good storytelling, you don't have to rely on action as a crutch. Instead, action becomes a spice and a complement to what's going on. And when Arrow could be one of those shows that is just, it's a comic book, it's a dude in a mask, and there's fighting and action there. We don't have to worry about narrative and good character development and good storytelling. But when you're a show that does have good narrative and good character development and good storytelling, then the action just becomes a nice addition to all of that. And that's what they've done with Arrow. And so I'm thrilled with this episode. So anyway, I've gone on long enough, and let's go over to you. Your positives about this episode.
You took my main comment right out of my mouth. I thought it was a badass episode because, like you said, it felt like a season finale, but for me, it was more of a catalyst for the rest of the season.
Right.
This is the thing that's going to set off everything that we're going to see in the last few episodes and really get Slade's grand agenda going. So it was really cool to finally have a Deathstroke-centric episode like this one. John said that, and we often forget, and we're often focused on Slade's menacing physicality. But this episode, you really got to see how hyper intelligent he is. And that's another effect of Mirakuru that people forget happens to you. We haven't seen it in Roy yet. I'll get to Roy later, but yeah, and he's like that in the comics. And I like that this episode reminded us that he is always going to be one step ahead of Team Arrow. Until they find that weakness with Deathstroke, he's going to be that person to them. How do they beat them? That's the question in my mind right now. So happy to see Slade, happy to see him take control of this episode. It was badass. I was also excited to see a lot of the characters we haven't seen in such a long time. I know last week Kaori and I were saying, where's Brother Blood? Where's Isabel? Where's Ivo? And I think all of you were laughing at us because we didn't watch the trailer for this episode where Isabel was in the trailer.
There they are.
Yeah.
There's Brother Blood in the trailer. We didn't know Ivo was going to be I didn't know Ivo was going to be in this episode. But it was nice to see them. It was really extremely awesome to see Moira back. I've missed her. She's one of my favorite characters on the show. I think every scene that she's in, she steals the scene, and I really did enjoy, like John did, I enjoyed that scene between her and Oliver because it's kind of it's such an odd tension because if one thing's going to bring them together, it's going to be Thea. And so to see them have to kind of set aside this whole tension that they had and come together in support of each other to try to help and save Thea, that was really nice to see. And then we get a glimpse into Isabel's background. We still are kind of all debating what that exactly is, but the whole quote about my father's sins are mine, or I know I'm not saying it right.
Yeah, the actual quote was the sin. And just a quick thing, somebody's asking in the chat board, why didn't Thea tell the cops that it was Slade Wilson that kidnapped her? She did. She did tell the cops that it was him who kidnapped her. But that brought up the quote was, the sins of the father are the sins of the son. Look, my obvious thought towards this is that she's talking about the sins of Oliver's father. Like, we already know that Oliver's father was not a great guy. He's done some things, and he cheated on Moira. We know he's cheated on Moira. So the obvious thought here is that Summer Glau is actually Oliver's half-sister, which brings up they fucked. I mean, they had sex, and so it's. I mean, that on one hand, that makes you go, well, she couldn't be his half sister. But if she is that evil and that bent on getting revenge on the Queen family, I mean, that just kind of shows how committed she is, doesn't it?
I don't think she is. I really don't, and that's not the first thought that crossed my mind. So when you guys are speculating that, I was speculating. This is the son that Slade was the son that was referred to in season 1 that Slade was talking about.
But why would he use
Deathstroke has
a son?
a daughter in the New 52 comics called, her name is Rose Wilson. And she actually is manipulated by Slade to kind of do his duty, to be the other Deathstroke for him. So she takes on his agenda in the comics. So I suspect, and that's the first thought that crossed my mind, was that this is Slade's daughter, who they referred to in that quote as the son. You guys tell us. What do you guys think? There's a lot of theories.
Because remember, Slade said he has a son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or had. I can't remember if he said he has or if he said he had. I think it was past tense. I think it's had. I don't think she's the one he's referring to. I don't think he would. I don't see why he would refer to her in the masculine when she's clearly a woman.
Yeah.
And he could have multiple kids. In the comics, he does have multiple kids. He had, I think, 2 sons and a daughter. So I'm not necessarily saying, okay, I'm trying to link it to season 1, but I'm not saying that. Let me go back on that. But I think that's what crossed my mind first, is that she is related to Slade, because why else would she take on his agenda if not for that reason?
Well, if our theory is correct, and I'm not sold on my theory, by the way, I'm not staying here going, absolutely Summer Glau is, what was Oliver's dad's name? I keep forgetting. Robert. Summer Glau is Robert Queen's daughter from an affair. But it would explain why she would have such a hate on to the Queen family. And the only reason I don't think she's the daughter of Deathstroke is because she speaks so disparagingly about the father. Like in the confrontation, she goes, "You really don't get it, do you? The sins of the father are the sins of the son." And so it's like, I think she was speaking hate on for Robert Queen. But I don't know. I mean, but that raises a whole bunch of disgusting rubbing body parts situations that none of us want to think about and deal with. But I mean, it's out there. Anyway, did you have any others?
Oh, the whole Laurel, the Officer Lance conflict is always thrilling to me, and I think you already talked about it, so I'll let Kaori go with her stuff.
All right, Kaori, what do you think?
Oh man, after all of those positives, I feel like there's nothing left to say.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm with you guys, and of course, I've got to say all of the characters did a really good job with the acting and the comments that they made as well. Felicity made really good comments. Everything that came out of Slade Wilson's mouth was good and solid and scary and eerie. He was perfect. It was good to see all of the characters back. Sebastian Blood. Good to see Isabel Rocha fight. And it's just really dramatic to watch Oliver's downfall, kind of. And he's really scared. Never seen Oliver this scared before. Even in my opinion, he's more scared of Deathstroke than he was last year of Malcolm Merlyn. Just everything about this episode, including what you guys said, it was just so good. The Moira Oliver conversation, the sins of the father talk. And I like that there's a parallel now. At the end of the episode, you see the parallel of Oliver, Felicity, and Diggle. They're going to be his backup. But then you see the other 3. You got Slade and Isabel along with Sebastian Blood. And those are his 3, that 3. And it will be interesting to see how this all goes down. I know there's Canary, but I have another theory about her. We'll talk about later.
Somebody in the chat board David Smith is saying, maybe Robert isn't her father. Maybe Robert had an affair with her. Maybe Oliver and Robert both slept with her, and hence the sins of the father. But it's not. Why would she call Oliver rubbing body parts with her a sin when she kind of instigated it?
Because she's dirty.
She's dirty. So dirty.
Dave Langer also says Isabel is Shadow's sister, and it's Ollie's fault that Shadow is dead. So she would want Ollie dead too.
That's a crazy fun theory.
It's a crazy fun theory. I don't see it. But it's a viable theory. I don't see
and
it.
that was the second theory that crossed my mind, is what's her linkage to Yao Fei?
Yeah.
Because there was that and that.
Not the big question is, was she the woman in the high heels on the island?
Yeah.
Was she the woman who orchestrated, or was it somebody else?
But it's the beauty of the show is Scott is talking about that now. Scott is theorizing about that totally, and it's exciting because that one line, just like how they did that Harley Quinn Easter egg, that one line has set us in this conversation about who is Isabel.
And obviously she's got some fighting skill.
And she's on the list from season 1. Her name is on the list.
Oh, really? I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I totally
so
forgot about that.
I'm on a screen grab of that, of her on the list.
Oh yeah, I think somebody had tweeted it to us. So I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's get to the second part of the show, which I got a feeling is going to be kind of short this one around.
Very short.
Our criticisms of this episode. Anne, do you have any written down?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
Nitpicking stuff because I love this episode so much. I actually do have Roy on my negatives.
Okay.
I'm not completely sold on Roy this episode.
So do I, but it's the most positive I've ever felt about Roy. So I
So
wanted
it's
to
a big
include that.
step.
I wanted to include that on my positives.
See, John's making strides, like Laurel's making strides in her AA meetings. John's making strides with Roy.
With Roy.
I thought the roid rage was a little too much, and I just wasn't sold on it in this episode. I think that's partially because I'm not completely sold on the character yet. So as soon as I find some sort of emotional or attachment to the character, then maybe I will buy the fact that he is distraught about Thea missing. So I have that on my negatives. How did Roy get that badass red car? I don't know.
I was thinking the exact same thing. So wait, he's got a car now?
Yeah.
Since when?
I was just, sad, but if they're going with this whole hoodlum thing, then I was just assuming he stole it. I don't know.
The answer.
Little things. Laurel, please don't just answer your door. Look through the peephole before you answer your door and have your door locked.
Having been kidnapped, assaulted, and been broken into the number of times her apartment has been in this show, at some point she might want to look through the peephole.
She needs to move. Let's
She
get
needs
her a
to
new
move.
place.
She's been needing to move for a while.
But the fact that Laurel now knows Oliver's secret makes me nervous. And I had this on my negatives. And maybe you guys will argue back that it's not a negative necessarily, but this is another person that knows Oliver Queen's secret. So now what? You know, it's growing. The number is growing, and so that for me makes me nervous.
I think
for Oliver.
On the same token, them unlocking all these secrets right now is going to pave way to a crazy season 3.
Oh, for sure.
Well, and we're still a ways away from season 3.
It's going to be a completely different beast.
Somebody just brought up actually a very interesting point in the chat board. They were saying that, you know, we've always had the feeling that Moira has something very personal against Summer Glau's character. Like, it's not just, I've heard she's ruthless. There's always been a venom to it. Mm-hmm. Maybe she knows she is Robert Queen's daughter. This is still assuming she's Robert Queen's daughter, which she very well may not be. But that would explain that, right? Like if Summer Glau is Robert Queen's daughter and Moira knows it, that would explain the way she has treated Isabel the entire series so far, right? I mean, wouldn't it? Maybe.
I feel like if Moira knew that fact, she would not even let her be Oliver's understudy while Oliver's struggling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she tried
So
to stop him.
bizarre.
She tried to stop him from working with her or trusting her under any circumstances the whole way. So, I mean, I don't know. Just theorizing, probably way off on this. I know. It just seems to be where the thread is leading. Any other points you want to raise?
Yes. If anyone noticed, we laughed at this. The graffiti written on the wall outside of the warehouse that we thought Slade was keeping Thea.
Yeah. The graffiti.
Go ahead.
The graffiti actually said.
Graffiti.
The graffiti said graffiti.
I thought that was kind of funny.
That was interesting.
And then I didn't really. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like this blackmail type thing that the head of the PD is doing to Officer Lance. I don't know if that's really a negative or I just don't like it. I'm not buying it.
Oh yeah, you know what? I agree with you. To me, this is feeling kind of like a silly, needless side plot.
Exactly.
It's just not needed and it feels distracting.
To get him out of the story or whatever the case is, or to have him choose allegiance to Arrow. I don't know what they're trying to do with it, but I don't think it's necessary.
Kaori, any negatives?
Yeah, those were actually my negatives. One was I didn't like that scene where Officer Lance is getting reamed by his superior. I just didn't understand it. The superior was annoying too because Oliver and Deathstroke were having a conversation, and right when Deathstroke might have said something interesting or pivotal, in he comes and ruins that. And then Roy, I'm a Roy fan, but for me, he actually really disappointed me in this episode. I felt like he was kind of useless. And instead of being a team player, he just let that roid rage get in. And even his roid rage wasn't convincing. It just didn't work well. The best part was when he drove off, because now maybe he'll come back or be doing something crazy. And when he comes back, it'll be more interesting.
My criticism of the Roy character has always come down mostly to the fact that there are no degrees to this character. There's no depth. It's either, he's a total 100% selfless sweetheart, one thing, almost unbelievably so, to, in the flip of a coin, he's just completely, and this is even before the Mirakuru, he's suddenly completely irrational, babyish, and childish. Oh, wow, you're going to let me go with you and you're going to trust me? Great. To, why are we listening to Oliver? Yeah. And the character has been like that since before the Mirakuru. And I that's always been my problem. Now, granted, the whole all that notwithstanding, I did feel like in this episode there were glimpses of different layers. Didn't really get it, but there were glimpses of it there that I haven't seen for the first time. So I choose to be positive and say, good job. The first thing I can ever say positive about the Roy character. Good job with it. Keep going down that rabbit hole. Or maybe my wildest dreams have come true when he drives out of Starling City at the end. He's actually gone. But I can't be so naive as to actually believe that. He's not gone.
Vegas has changed you, honey.
Well, maybe that's where he went. Maybe he just decided, you know what, I need a trip to Vegas. And he just went to Vegas.
He's on his way here to talk to you, John.
That's right. I want to talk to you about this roid rage thing.
We invited him to the after show, so maybe he's on his way to talk to you.
So you have some criticism about Roy, and I'll go, and then that'll be the end of our conversation.
I did like how he tried to slap. He tried to hit
punch
Slade. That didn't go anywhere.
I loved that because, first of all, there are several scenes in this episode where Roy completely gets bitched. One is, he puts this big punch into Slade. Slade, his feet don't even move. He just turns his head, spits, no big deal. Then, Canary puts him in his place. He's constantly being kind of bitched down by Oliver at the same time. And I kind of like that. It's like, guess what, dude? Just because you have really strong muscles now, you're still nothing compared to these people who will beat you down. So I did kind of like that. But that is part of what I liked about Roy in this episode, that the character got humbled a bit a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And instead of falling back to his meh, he actually just took it. Like because when he punched Slade and Slade didn't even blink, I expected the Royisms to come out and say, oh yeah, and he'd try to lean into him again, but instead he just realized, whoa, like he just took it and he just kind of backed off. That showed me a bit of depth. When, Canary was pointing the arrow at him and realized that she just gave him a warning shot, instead of getting really bitchy about it, he realized he had to back down. And to me, that shows at least the glimpses of new layers to the character, that there's more than just extreme this and extreme that. And that's why I felt enthusiastic about it. Even though overall, still the weakest character there.
Well, what do you think of him leaving Starling City? Isn't that kind of meh?
Not necessarily, because at the end, Thea's safe. Yeah. She's back. She's safe. He probably realizes he's burned a bridge with Oliver. I've got a feeling he's gone to do something. I don't think he just left town. I think he went to do something. And what he has gone to do, we'll probably find out in a few weeks. I doubt we'll find out next week, but we'll probably find out in a few weeks.
Could I go back to a positive real quick that I forgot to mention? One of my positives also was, Anne brushed upon the fact that Slade Wilson, we see his intelligence and his strength with the Mirakuru, but also we see the driving force in his brain, because Shadow was there telling him what to say, whether it was on the island or in Starling City. And I thought that was a really good touch to this
Oh yeah, he crazy. He ain't just smart, he's crazy. Yeah. Slade is certifiably insane. And that's probably an effect of the Mirakuru. Now, whether or not they decide to go down a path where the effects of Mirakuru are still continuing to degrade his mind, or whether this is just he's gone this crazy and this is how crazy he will always be, or if he's going to descend into even deeper madness, don't know. we simply don't know where that is yet. But I thought that was a great thing, that he's being driven by his own personal demon. And I thought that was a really cool addition to the show.
Yep.
Really cool.
I liked seeing her. The spirit.
Yeah. Spirit,
All right.
whatever.
Well, we're about, oh gosh, we're already half hour into the show.
Because there's so many good things
So many good things to talk about this episode. And look, you guys know me. I love this show, but I do not like getting on here on the Arrow After Show and just blowing smoke up the Arrow creative team's collective skirt. I like to say, hey, I loved it, because I believe as a true fan, you can point out the negatives in a constructive criticism point away. I believe that's what true fandom is. True fandom is not sticking your head in the sand and pretending, la, 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 everything is perfect with the show that I love. I believe part of being a fan is acknowledging the weaknesses and hoping that they get better and things like that. But this is truly one of those times I got nothing negative to say. This is such a damn good episode. It's just so great. So we're going to spend the rest of our time here. I got to play that birthday message again at some point, because I thought it was so cool. But we're going to spend the rest of our time here taking your comments and your questions. So you guys are watching. Just fire in the questions there on the live chat board, and Ann will take those questions and pick them out. Ann, do you already have some picked out?
I do.
Okay, what do we got?
Just pulled this one out. Tom Snow asks, Arrow After Show, why do you think that Oliver did not get Amanda Waller to help him against Slade this episode? As well as, happy birthday, Anne. He wants to also know how you got Steven to send that message.
That's about 15 questions in one. I talk about this on AMC quite a bit when people will go, wait a minute, why doesn't Hawkeye show up in Captain America? Because it's a Captain America movie. Why didn't Captain America go and help Tony Stark in Iron Man 3? Because it's an Iron Man movie. Why didn't he go to Amanda Waller? I don't know. Clearly him and Amanda Waller had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about Slade. So they got some kind of understanding. But I don't think Oliver has Amanda Waller on speed dial. But clearly they had a conversation at the end of that one episode. They're going someplace with that. Mm-hmm. So obviously, though, that whatever that thing is that they're working on together is not in place yet. So Oliver, I mean, obviously, Slade kidnapping Thea was not a part of Oliver's timetable. So something's coming, but it wasn't ready yet. What were one of the other questions? He asked a couple in there.
He just asked how you got Steven to send that happy birthday message.
Oh, okay.
He wants to know your secrets.
Okay, my secrets. The secret's straightforward. My secret is that Amel is just a good Canadian kid. I mean, he's just a great guy. And honestly, all it took for me, he's been so wonderful to this show, and so wonderful in supporting us, supporting them. I mean, we just like talking about Arrow. We're trying to be Arrow evangelists and get people to know. And he's been totally supportive of that. And he's been wonderful. And so honestly, almost a week ago, I guess, or a number of days ago, I just emailed him. I just emailed him. And I just said, dude, I mean, listen, Anne's birthday's coming up on Wednesday. It's Arrow Day. And she still wants to do the after show, even though it's her birthday. Would you be able to send something to her, like a video message or an email? I even just said send her an email or something. Would you be able to do something like that? And dude came through. I mean, like, what other types of television stars, movie stars are want to be that connected to the people that love their show the way that Stephen Amell has been? And I think it's a testament to. Well, number one, how great of a husband I am. Let's call a spade a spade. But really, what it's a real testament to is how great and how fan friendly a guy like Stephen Amell is, and just awesome that he did that. So anyway, what other questions we got in the chat board?
Wait, there was a part of that question I wanted to comment on.
Oh, what was the other part of the question?
Now I can't remember what the question was.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Why didn't he call out Amanda Waller?
Oh,
no, I already addressed that.
I think that was the question. My only response to what John is saying is that I am disappointed that they haven't visited that conversation. We're 2 episodes from that conversation that happened. So,
but what we've learned from Arrow is they are not afraid to set something up in one episode and wait a season and a half to follow it up. They're not, and I like that, because a lot of shows, they're so linear in their thinking that they think, okay, the next episode has to pick up right where this episode. Any loose end we left from last episode has to be addressed in the very next one. This show is so great about opening doors and they don't feel the need to have to walk through those doors the very next episode. They will wait 3 episodes, 6 episodes, 8 episodes, a season from now, because we're still seeing stuff pop up in episodes now that are addressing questions and open doors that were opened in season 1, which I think is really, really cool. So they had that conversation with Amanda for a reason, but I'm totally comfortable knowing that just because we didn't see the reason last week and we didn't see the reason this week, and maybe we won't see it next week, it's coming. At some point, it's coming. All right, what's next?
Okay. I don't know who asked this question, but the question is, could the Sins line be a motto for the League of Assassins in this universe?
I think if it was going to be a motto for the League of Assassins, we would have heard it by now.
And I think that is in some way assuming that Isabel would be linked to Ra's al Ghul.
Well, okay, then that assumes a number of big things.
A big assumption.
And number 1 assumes that she's linked to the League of Shadows. But number 2, it makes a bigger assumption that then by default, Deathstroke is associated with the League of Assassins. And I do not believe that's the case. I believe those are 2 separate bodies. So no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe it is. It's quite possible. Just because I don't think it is doesn't mean it's not the case. But I don't think that's the way they're doing it. What do you guys think?
No, I don't think that was related to that. I think it's just directly related to Robert and how he's associated to her and Oliver. Really, it's kind of simple, but.
All right. Next
what
question.
else we got?
Bruce Knight asks, do you think that Barry Allen will create an anti-super soldier serum to help Team Arrow beat Slade and Slade's people?
No, I think we've seen the extent of Barry's involvement for this season, and I mean, he may pop up in a quick cameo here, or a video message, or have a Skype conversation with Felicity at some point. But I think any heavy, serious involvement is done for this season. I think right now they want to see if they can make this pilot really good and get CW to actually pick it up as a series. Those are all still big questions, and that's where their focus has to be right now. So I don't think we're going to see Barry play any kind of major role in the rest of the season. But wouldn't it be a great surprise if he did? What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
Oh, I think he's gone for the rest of the season. I think they're working on that pilot for the Flash, and if we do see him, it'll be kind of a cameo in a future episode, probably in season 3 or something. So no.
I actually had heard he's coming back for one more episode. If it's not him, it's cast members from the Flash pilot,
right,
to kind of intertwine the two and get the Arrow fans plugged into the Flash pilot.
Okay.
So I don't think he will play a big role. That would be cool, though. All right. J.M. Thomas asks, based on current events, do you believe that Thea will go down a dark path? And if so, who can save her, Oliver or Roy?
What do you guys think?
I think Roy. If she does go down a dark path, because here we go. Thea knows that Malcolm is her father. What is she going to do with this knowledge? Now she is not only hating her mom, but she's hating Oliver for not telling her. So she is in a very dark place as it is. So is Roy. So if she finds herself in that situation, then I could see Roy being the one that could not save her, but that could antagonize her to become even more dark. Oliver, I think at this point, has lost all credibility with her. What do you
Kaori?
guys think?
Yeah, I think that it would be Roy as well. I think that this is a crazy idea, but Thea and Roy could end up turning against Oliver for a little bit.
I just got to do this now, but I want to play this again because I think this is just so cool that what he did. Oops.
Oh, yeah.
I can't get to play. My grandmother popped up there.
It's Wednesday, April 2nd, which is also apparently your birthday.
How serious he is.
Happy birthday. Have a tremendous after show. And happy birthday. I hope you like tonight's episode. I'm going to...
Big dramatic pause there. Thanks again, Stephen. Anyway, so let's take 2 more before we call it a night.
All right. Thomas Baruti asks, Laurel says, once you let the darkness inside, it never comes out. And Slade talked about corrupting those Oliver loves. So do you think she's going to join Team Slade in some way?
Can I just say, I'm going to hop on that real quick because I have a theory that after we found out that she knows that Oliver is the vigilante or Arrow, she is, for me, don't kill me, definitely going to become the Black Canary. For me, that's what's going to happen.
Okay, but here's the problem. Here's the problem.
I have a theory about her too. The other one
it's one thing. This is why it gets me frustrated whenever people talk about Laurel becoming Black Canary. It's like, okay, she's a girl who decides she's going to be a Black Canary. She's still useless. We just saw in this last episode, several times, one thug could just come in and grab her and pull her off to do whatever. She will not magically become overnight a 10-year trained elite League of Assassins ninja.
I didn't say that it's going to happen overnight. Something's going to have to happen to Sarah to have her replace her. And ultimately, for me, I think she is destined to become that Black Canary, especially after I saw the promo for the next episode.
Then how do they explain? This is the big problem I have. How do they explain her being completely useless to being a superhero who can take out 20 thugs?
Well, she does know how to fight. We know that because.
But we've seen she can't really. Really.
But she's I think that if you build power and enough hatred, resentment, we have something there for her. And I've been anti Laurel for a while, but I'm convinced, and I could be wrong, obviously. But
I still stand that this would be the absolute stupidest thing they could do. I would be really, really disappointed in the writers of the show if they made that stupid of a mistake. Now, the only way I could see around this, the only possible way I could see around this is if, we still have a lot of flashbacks to go. If we find out Laurel also has a secret, and for the past 5 years, she has been training with the League of Assassins or Merlin or something, then, okay, that's a stretch, but I'll buy it. But if at this point say, okay, she's just a useless $1.05 scrawny chick, and I don't care if it's a chick, $1.05 scrawny dude, doesn't matter, who can't even, stand up to one thug in an office building, to suddenly, because she gets attitude and anger, she becomes an elite world-class martial artist who can take out armies of people on her own. It would be so disappointing to me.
I agree. It's hard to believe.
Okay, so Laurel becoming Black Canary at some point where the writers have worked very hard to convince us that she can take on that role. Maybe a few seasons down the line, I will buy it then. Right now, and if you're saying this would be her motivation to become Black Canary, I don't see it for several reasons. One, this is not the right motivation for someone to become the Black Canary. This would be the right motivation for potentially somebody to become the White Canary, because that's the badder version of the two. This is a dark motivation for somebody. So for me, Black Canary has always been the better of the two canaries, right? So her motivation should be something more positive, something more in line with getting together with Oliver and becoming a team with him. And that's why him and Sarah work. So when this person, Thomas, asked, so do you think she's going to join Team Slade in some way? I think so, but I think she's going to be manipulated into that role on his team. Because now she has this information. How is she going to process it? I think Slade is smart enough to know that Laurel is probably the weakest link of the people that Oliver loves and cares about. So he's going to definitely manipulate her to be, whether she likes it or not, working in his favor.
Interesting theory. All right, let's take one more question.
All right. A lot of Laurel questions. Do you guys want another one?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so Martyr X Music and Film asks, now that Laurel knows Oliver is Arrow, will she go back to just blaming him for Tommy's death?
It would be understandable. I hadn't really considered that. First of all, let me talk about that scene though, because we were watching the show. And, Slade shows up. Once again, she opens her door without looking through the people. And he comes in. I'm not here to hurt you. Oliver Queen is the Arrow. And then I said, what I totally wanted him to do, even though there's no reason for him to have one on him, is to raise up his arm. He's got a microphone and just drop the mic and then walk out of the room. That would have been awesome. Oliver Queen is the Arrow. and then turns.
I'm sorry, how many of the,
Deathstroke
I
out.
think some of the people in the chat would probably say at that scene they wanted Slade to just off Laurel, because I think there are a lot of non-Laurel fans in our chat room.
Oh yeah,
right
I totally
now,
would have been cool. No, but and I'm not talking because anti-Laurel. Laurel's been growing on me
Yes.
again, because I've been very critical of Laurel for the most of the season, but they've been using her better lately, and she's been growing on me. But how dramatic would it have been if it was a simple, not look through the peephole, open the door, snap, and roll credits? How stunning would that have been?
Very.
Woof.
Extremely.
Yeah, I mean that would have been ballsy.
We
That
could
would have been
rewrite
ballsy.
that episode right now.
And I still don't know if this season is going to have a Tommy. Because last season when they killed Tommy, we say this all the time, that changed everything. Because when they killed Tommy, anything goes in this show. Absolutely anything goes. Like Slade could just walk through the door and snap Laurel's neck. He could have killed Thea tonight. Roy could have accidentally killed Diggle while, twisting his arm or something like that. Like, that's one of the most brilliant things they've done in this show was killing off of Tommy, even though Tommy's one of my favorite characters, and I hope they find a way to bring him back. But it was brilliant on their part because it means we never can assume we know what's going to happen. Anything can happen in this show. And yeah, that would have been pretty damn stunning. I don't know. What do you think would be the most, aside from killing Oliver, what would be the thing that they could do that would actually surprise, like stun you, that if they did this?
Oh, that's tough.
I think hurting any of the Trinity, meaning
Diggle, Felicity.
Oliver, Diggle, or Felicity would stun me, because they seem pretty solid right now, and they seem to be, at least for the fans, the favorites. Which, going back to the positives, I like seeing them together again. But yes, I think hurting any of those three would stun me.
I can't think of anything because the element of surprise. I even think that Sarah might be a goner, and she'd be a very important character if she was a goner. To be a goner, the impact she would have if that were to happen. I can't think of anybody. Maybe Moira, but even then, she would have an amazing impact as well. So, anyone's head.
I really hope they keep Sarah around. I love Sarah's character, and I know there are a lot of people who don't. I know some people in this room don't love Sarah. I do though. I love the Sarah character. I really, really do. And I love her as Black Canary, so I hope they keep it around. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. We've already gone like 48 minutes, which is technically longer than the runtime of the Arrow episode itself.
Oh my God.
So thank you so much for joining us. Listen, folks, this is a show that deserves, it's got a nice following on CW, but it deserves a bigger following because of the quality of show that it is. Make sure you tell your friends and use your social networks to make sure people know about Arrow and check it out, because you're going to be doing them a favor if you do. And hey, why not? Come watch the Arrow After Show after you watch the episodes too. So I want to thank, first of all, the lovely ladies who are joining me today. Sitting to my immediate right, first of all, is Kaori. Kaori, where can people find you online?
You can find me right down here, Kaorious, Kaorious.
And beside her, the birthday girl, Ann Campea. Ann, where can people find you?
You can find me at Ann Campea, and feel free to plug in your name and your birthday in that video that Steven made me. You can make it your own too.
And you can find me on the various social media networks on Twitter and whatnot at John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Really, thrilled that, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fellow Arrow fans want to get together and just talk Arrow. It's a lot of fun for us to do this. Thanks a lot for joining us and being a part of it. So, my name is John Campea for Kaori and for Ann. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. And until next time, bye-bye.